In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a list of people or companies that match any criteria that you want, no matter how specific that criteria might be. It could be something as broad as how many people work at the company, or it could be something as specific as whether they have yellow in their profile picture. So the very first thing I have to go over here is what we're going to import and what we're going to qualify by. So in this case, we're going to import companies based in New York, software or tech related, that have 100 to 3,000 employees. And I decided to make up a variety of different qualifying attributes and show you how I can build any of these out in Clay at scale. This can be done for as many companies as you'd like, and it really doesn't take any additional work. So here are the 5. Whether they're hosting an event soon, if they have more than 100 LinkedIn followers, whether their website visitors are over 10,000. The 4th is whether they use Salesforce, and 5th is whether they have any sales job openings. I want to say first that this is not an exhaustive list of the things that you can use within Clay to qualify by, but I figured this would give you a general idea of how a lot of these work, and we could qualify a list of companies by these exact attributes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click New Table, and I'm going to go to Find Companies from LinkedIn. Next, what we're going to do is go to our employees section here and do 51 to 5,000 employees. Next, we're going to make sure that they're in New York City, and then we're just going to include the description keywords software and tech. Now that we have all of our qualifying attributes, we can go ahead and click Preview Companies, and you can see that we have 80 companies that fit these exact criteria. All right, so now these companies have been imported into our table, we can start going through the several different criteria we want to vet our companies by. For the first one, we're just going to make sure each of these companies have more than 100 LinkedIn followers. In order to do any of these qualifications, we're going to use what's called enrichments within Clay. Enrichments are ways to find data about a company and then qualify the company by that specific data. So first we're going to click Enrich Data, and we're going to put Enrich Company. And you'll see this integration pops up right here. We're going to click Enrich Company, and this LinkedIn URL will auto-populate into the tab. We're going to click Continue, and we're going to save and run for all of the rows in this view. All right, so most of these companies have been enriched now, and if you click on these cells, we can see that there are a ton of different pieces of information about the company. In this case, all we want is their follower count, so we will pop that out into a column. You'll see that some of these companies do have over 100 followers, some have a ton, and what we want to do is just vet out the ones automatically that have less than 100. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click Add Column, and we're going to go to Checkbox. And you might be thinking to yourself, I really don't feel like manually checking each one that has more than 100, and that is great because I have a solution for you. We're going to click Edit Column, then we're going to go to Formula and click Use AI. From there, I'm going to say check the box if, and then I'm going to click slash to pop up our columns here and scroll down to our follower count, where then we're going to say is over 99. If we save this output, you'll see that for every company that has more than 100 followers, it checks the box. So we can call this our follower qualification. The second one is we'll figure out whether their website visitors are over 10,000 per month. In order to do that, we just add yet another enrichment. So in this case, we're going to go to the SEMrush integration. You can see here we have traffic analytics, and we can just click on that. And all we need is the company's URL, which has already been given to us once we imported those companies into our table. I'm going to run this for all 80 rows in the view. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I put in the month. So we're going to put in 2024, January. So this is only going to find the analytics for that specific month, so we can tell whether they've had more than 10,000 website visitors in the past month on their website. And we will run that for all of our rows in the view. All right, so you can see here we have found the traffic for a lot of these companies, and I was able to map out the total visits by clicking on the integration and just going down to this total visits section. Next, what we're going to do is add a checkbox that checks whether the amount of visits is over 10,000 or not. So we're going to go ahead and click Edit Column and go down to our AI, and we are going to say check the box if total visits is greater than or equal to 10,000. And you'll see that it did a great job of determining whether that is the case or not, and we are going to call this Web Traffic Check. And we want to go next to whether the company uses Salesforce or not. So we're going to use what's called a tech stack waterfall. So first you're going to click on the enrichments column in Clay, and you're going to type in tech stack, and you'll see that this waterfall section pops up. A waterfall is pretty much a thing that uses several different integrations at once to find one specific data point at a higher accuracy than just using one data provider would. So when you're clicking on the tech stack section, it's going to automatically populate the company domain, and all we have to put in here is Salesforce, because that is the company that we are filtering for. I'm going to make sure to use every iteration of Salesforce just to make sure. So now we are going to go ahead and run this for all of our rows to see which of the companies have Salesforce. The integration is run, and we can see here that there are quite a few of these companies that use Salesforce in some capacity. So what we're going to do is click Add Column now, and we are going to make sure that our checkbox is only checked in the case that the company uses Salesforce, which is just going to say check the box if our tech stack section is not empty. And we are going to generate that formula, and we are going to call this uses Salesforce check. All right, so next we want to see if they have any open sales job openings. So what we're going to do is click Add Column, Add Enrichment. We're actually going to go back to a waterfall, but this case for job openings. You can see that we have 3 different integrations that are going to be looking for job openings, and all we have to do is go into the keywords section here and put sales. Then we're going to put in account executive, and we might even put in GTM. Maybe we'll even do something like CSO, and we will go ahead and run all 80 rows in this view to try to find some job openings related to sales for these companies. Alrighty, so this is finished running, and you can see right down here that we have several several job openings for sales throughout these companies. This one even has 26 sales job openings. So what we're able to do is just add one more checkbox to double check that each one of these companies has a sales job opening programmatically. So we're going to put check the box. If job openings is not empty, we are going to save that and call this job openings check. All right, so last but not least, we have our most difficult qualification to do yet, which is whether the company hosts webinars. Clay has a web scraper called Claygen that allows you to scrape pretty much any data that is publicly available on the web programmatically using an AI prompt. So what we're going to do is we're going to prompt Claygen to go into the company's website and see if it's hosting any webinars anytime soon. So if you go to Enrich Data and type in Claygen, you can see it pops up right here, and it essentially searches the web, visits websites, and gathers information. What you're going to do is you're going to click in the mission section and put your prompt in. So here's the prompt. I said, tell me if the company, which website is in the domain section, hosts webinars, digital summits, virtual events, or online events of any kind. Make sure to be very specific as to what you're looking for and to be exhaustive in the different types of things that you want to find. Webinars can include a bunch of different things, but what if you're looking for virtual events instead of just webinars? Then you're going to want to specify that in the Claygen prompt because it's very, very specific. Next, I say, usually these can be found under a resources page, an events page, or a webinars page. So now I'm telling it to search the website, specifically their website, and it can usually be found under these 3 pages. It gives it more context to help complete this task for you easier. I only want events that the company is hosting themselves to make sure that we don't mention any events that the company might be going to anytime soon. Only return yes if they do host online events or no if they don't host online events. So now we're giving it output instructions. In your reasoning, link the resource you use to make your decision if possible. So we're going to run this and we're going to see if any of these companies are hosting online events anytime soon. All right, so we can see that Claygen has found all of its responses needed. So we can actually click on this cell now and we can find out its reasoning and its confidence with its decision. So in this case, Claygen says there was no direct mention of online webinars, digital summits, virtual events, or other online events. There are events related to the company, but details about the nature of these events were not provided, leading to uncertainty, and it gives you a confidence of 70. And we can go into one now that says yes. It seems as if Theme is hosting webinars events. They have a web webinar series that they actually have linked right here, so we can even double check to make sure it's actually real and exists. It's a real thing. They have live webinars and it has a 100% confidence of this. So we know that this is doing pretty well because I checked through about 10 of these results when I first used this prompt. So we know that this is good to go. So all we're going to do is pop out this result into a new column, and then we're going to go to our checkbox once again, and we're going to say if this result is yes or yes, then check the box. And we can see here that it did a great job of doing so, and we can pop this out, and then we can call this webinars check. It is now the moment of truth where we can find out whether any of these companies meet all 5 of these criteria. So we're going to add column, and we're going to our checkbox section. We're going to add our final checkbox here, and we're going to say if our follower qualification is checked, and our web traffic check is checked, and our Salesforce check is checked, and our job openings check is checked, and our webinars check is checked, then check the box. We will generate ourselves a formula and we will output this. And we had 3 companies that passed our final check, and we can double check this by filtering out only where the final check is checked. We have a yes here, we have a check here, we have a check here, we have a check here, and we are good. We have 3 companies that fit all of these criteria out of the 80 that we started with. All right, and that is it. I hope this video brought some value to you, and if you'd like to try Clay, feel free to check out the link in the description of this video, and happy prospecting.